Hi guys, this is Andy from Engage Armament. Over the past couple weeks, there's been a lot of drama going on here in Maryland regarding SBRs and SBSs, so short-barreled rifles and short-barreled shotguns. So as a lot of you Marylanders know, we had the laws last year, Senate Bill 281 came into effect, and then several weeks ago, Maryland State Police came out and said, now obviously they get their orders from Attorney General, so it's not Maryland State Police, but they came out and said that short-barreled rifles are actually handguns and assault long guns. And so this was obviously a very, very confusing thing. They're saying that any firearm, and this is under COMAR, so this is a real thing, any rifle with a barrel length of under 16 inches is to be treated as a handgun. So it needs to be on Maryland's handgun roster in order to be sold. On the other hand, what they are saying is that it is also an assault long gun. An assault long gun is that list of now banned firearms. So for instance, you could have a short-barreled AK, and even though it's a handgun, it's prohibited because it's a copy, clone, variant thereof of an enumerated firearm or enumerated long gun on Maryland's assault long gun list. So it looked like, at that point, that SBRs were gone. Short-barreled shotguns were gone. It threw in jeopardy the stuff that people bought pre-1 October. So what I wanted to do was share with you a letter I got from Maryland State Police today regarding this. A short-barreled rifle or short-barreled shotgun, because it is defined as a handgun, is not subject to the ban on the sale of assault long guns. A short-barreled rifle with an overall length of less than 29 inches would be a copycat weapon and so banned for sale to non-exempt persons. However, a short-barreled rifle with an overall length of 29 inches or more can be sold to citizens. So the way that reads to me is that a short-barreled rifle now just has to be approved by the Maryland Handgun Roster Board and is no longer held to the same standards as an assault long gun. Meaning, you could have a short-barreled AK, or let's say a short-barreled FAL. You could still have those in Maryland, but only via the NFA process and only if it has been submitted to the Maryland Handgun Roster Board. Another weird thing, though, about this is that they're still applying, though, the overall length requirement for rifles, for assault long guns, to handguns, which is still kind of confusing and I think ambiguous. I understand they're doing their best to try to interpret a law that was, they're doing their best to interpret a law that was like extremely poorly written. It's like having me make laws about nuclear waste regulation. And I also want to point out that if Senator Frosh becomes Attorney General, you'll be getting his letters. We'll all be getting, and we will be beholden. We will be beholden to Senator Frosh's letters. And I tell you, they won't be anywhere near as cool as this. There won't be any more good news in his letters. That's a very important thing to remember. As the election's coming up, all right? And he is the guy who pushed through Senate Bill 281. So please remember that. But we do have a step in the right direction. And that's an awesome, awesome, awesome step. And if it is how I interpret it, thank you, Maryland State Police, because that's awesome. You did this a solid. I really, really appreciate it.
Let me ask a question.
No problem.
You're coming from Newtown, Connecticut.
Yes, sir.
Tell us that an assault weapons ban wouldn't have saved lives in Newtown, Connecticut?
Connecticut has an assault weapons ban, and it has been in place.
And wouldn't, if it were effective, it would have prevented most of those deaths, wouldn't it?
It's not effective because the deaths occurred, sir.
Because?
The deaths happened. The tragedy
Was
occurred.
his mother in lawful possession of the Bushmaster that massacred those kids?
She was in possession of the handguns, the rifle, and she also had possession of shotguns as well.
And was she lawfully in possession of the assault weapon that killed those kids?
Yes, she was lawfully possessing that.
So then they did not have an assault weapons ban that prohibited her from owning that weapon, right?
Well, I think we're we're dealing with semantics here.
No, we're not. We're really not. The question, I mean, the point is you come from Newtown, Connecticut to tell us that an assault weapons ban that just killed 26 people in your hometown, 20 of them 6- and 7-year-old kids, that if we ban that weapon, it won't do any good. And because it didn't do any good in Connecticut. Is
There
that
is an
the
assault
message that
weapons
you came
ban.
down here to give us?
There is an assault weapons ban in Connecticut. You are simply looking at
So
the
in other words-
cosmetic features of a rifle. You're simply, by looking at the cosmetic features of a rifle, an assault weapon is a fully automatic, modern sporting rifle.
Right,
Fully
and
automatic.
the one that he used had the capacity to spray 30 bullets in just a couple of seconds, didn't it?
That was in his trunk.
Did it or not?
No, it did not, sir.
So,
Every pull of the trigger, a round is expended.
yeah.
That is what
and
a semi-automatic.
how many
firearm
times do you think you needed to pull, how fast do you think you can pull the trigger to fire off 30 rounds?
No
with a-
different
with a
than a
Bushmaster?
handgun, which you
Can you do
pull.
it in less than 10 seconds?
I don't think so. You
Less
cannot
than
fire
15?
it that fast. I'm not going to get into the time frame of how fast you
Well,
can fire a round. It's no different than if we're looking at magazine capacity and how fast someone can switch a magazine.
If he had only had a magazine capacity of, say, 10 rounds, would he have been able to kill that many people that quickly?
Well, quite possibly. We're dealing with people that want to commit crimes. They're not going to go, if they're going to commit a crime, they're not going to swap out their 20-rounder, their 30-rounder to go to a 10-rounder to comply with the law. Let's take a look at this. This is the New York Times from Thursday, January 31st. Front page. Obviously, me, being involved in the firearms industry, is the only one that's going to recognize this. You have insurgents in Syria that have an AK-47 with two 20-round magazines duct taped together. Yep. Why do they do that? So they can simply switch out the magazines faster. It doesn't matter. They're criminals. Well, you need to understand that they're not going to abide by bans.
The police chief of Baltimore County testified before Congress, and he also spoke at Governor O'Malley's press conference. And he talked about the shooter of Congressman Gabrielle Giffords, and he said that the reason that the guy was stopped, I believe it was that shooting, was because he had to reload, and somebody tackled him while he was reloading. So, do you think it makes no difference when somebody has a 30-clip magazine as opposed to a 10-clip magazine?
But we're not talking about 30 rounders here in Maryland because you already have a 20-round ban.
Let's say 20 and 10.
Okay. So you're saying the difference between 20 and 10? It's
No,
an
I'm
arbitrary
asking
number.
you. You think it makes no difference?
No, it does not make a difference.
So,
Because the criminals are not going to abide by it. Why is a criminal going to say, I'm going to get a 10-rounder if I'm going to commit a crime?
If we take your position, we shouldn't pass any laws because criminals aren't going to abide by them.
That's right.
Is that right? Okay.
Correct.
Got it.